Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. I've been on half term for 2 weeks, and quite frankly, I'm bored. And you've seen the title, it's bad. So between reading comments of how bad my singing is, and watching this video on repeat, I have decided to watch all the bad eras of Thomas and Friends. Normally, when I do Thomas binge watches, I only watch the classic seasons and the Brenner era, the actual good stuff. But this time, I watched all 24 seasons and 14 specials, and the ups and downs were very clear. So I decided to make this video talking about the worst era of Thomas. Before I get started, I think I should briefly say what I'm classing as different eras. Most fans of the show split it into either 3 eras, the classic era, the new series, and the CGI series, or 5 eras, the classic era, the new series, the Miller era, the Brenner era, and Blubber. But I'm going to add one more. I'm splitting up the classic era into 2 separate eras, the Allcroft era from seasons 1 to 5, and the Ghislaine era from seasons 6 and 7. So, let's just get the 3 eras that aren't in contention out the way. In no way is the Brit Allcroft era ever going to be considered for the worst era. Series 1 to 5 is just perfect in every way, from the stories, the music, tone, the narration in both English dubs, the visuals, the sets, everything about the first 5 seasons of Thomas and Friends is pure perfection. The Ghislaine era, season 6 and 7, they're also very good. Not as good as the Allcroft era, but most of the episodes were still very good, and it still had the same feel as it did before, with a few exceptions. The Brenner era is another very good era. Again, not as good as the Allcroft era, but that's not really a criticism. I don't think anything ever will be again. I know people who don't like this era, and I can understand why, but the 5 seasons made under Andrew Brenner before the Blubber reboot was, for most fans, a return to something near the best Thomas had to offer, especially season 20. Okay, so now we've got the good stuff out the way, let's get on to the bad stuff. Starting with what most fans call the new series, even though it's not that new anymore, it ended over 10 years ago. So I'm going to call it the hit era, which lasted from season 8 to season 12. However bad an episode from season 6 or 7 was, looking at Percy and the Haunted Mine and the Old Bridge, I could overlook it on the basis that there are only 2 bad episodes in 7 whole seasons. One of the main reasons I classed seasons 6 and 7 in a different category from the original 5 seasons was that, in my opinion, 6 and 7 both had one standout episode, Thomas the Jet Engine and Gordon and Spencer, and one awful episode, Percy and the Haunted Mine and the Old Bridge, with the rest of the episodes falling into the middle ground. With the first 5 seasons, 25, if not 26, out of the 26 episodes in the season were standouts, with only the very worst falling into the middle ground. When you get to the hit era, however, the best episodes barely make it into the middle ground, and the worst fall far below anything that came before. Take The Man in the Hills, or Sir Handel Takes Charge from season 11, or Edward Strikes Out. In my opinion, the worst Thomas episode of all time. All 3 are awful episodes, and there are plenty more where that came from. That being said, however, there are some episodes, especially early on, like Respect for Gordon, Thomas Saves the Day, Thomas to the Rescue, Squeak, Rattle and Roll, Edward the Great, and ignoring the fact that Henry doesn't need special coal anymore and Percy should know how to pull passenger coaches, It's Good to Be Gordon and Gordon Takes Charge. They're all decent episodes. The hit era was full of awful episodes, but there were enough decent ones to make this era, especially the earlier seasons, watchable, so I think this is safe from being the worst era. Then we come on to the first of 2 truly awful eras, the Sharon Miller era, lasting from series 13 to series 16. Miller had been writing episodes since Series 9, but I don't think she became head writer until Series 13, and the show went fully animated then, so it feels like a good place to draw the line between eras. Off the top of my head, I can't think of a decent episode, or an episode I liked from this era. I guess Snow Tracks is my favourite, but that's definitely not saying it's good. If it went in any other era, it would be one of the worst. It's just not as bad as the others. I also don't mind the Series 16 episode about finding the carriage for the Fat Controller's birthday, but again, not good, just not as bad. Most of the episodes in this era are awful, like Thomas's Tall Friend, A Blooming Mess, Fiery Flynn, Race to the Rescue, Percy's New Friends, James in the Dark, James to the Rescue, any episode with the logging locos in, and then the two episodes almost universally accepted as the worst Thomas episodes, Wonky Whistle and Up, Up and Away. The Miller era was truly an awful era filled with dumb stories, crap writing and terrible dialogue. Okay, now on to Big World Big Adventures, WUBA for short, lasting from season 22 to 24. This era always puzzled me. Most of the writers in this era had written amazing episodes during the Brenner era, examples being Davey Moore, who wrote all the Daisy episodes in season 20, and Becky Overton, who wrote Diesel's Ghostly Christmas, and they all seemed to forget how to write for this era. Michael White was the only decent writer in this era, but he didn't write at all in the Brenner era. The international episodes are boring and pointless, with the possible exception of the Italy episodes and the one with the tiger in season 24, and the Soda episodes, apart from the Michael White ones. Again, they're just boring and stupid. Edward and Henry, two of my favourite characters of all time, were replaced by Nia and Rebecca. If these two were just minor characters appearing once or twice a season, they'd be okay, but there is nothing at all to justify them being main characters in place of the two legends that are Edward and Henry. So, both the Miller era and WUBA were awful eras of the show, and there's nothing really separating them. The Miller episodes were so bad, but WUBA was incredibly boring. If I had to pick an era, I'd say WUBA was better purely because of the Michael White episodes, and it did try to keep every character in character. So, in my opinion, the Miller era was the worst era of Thomas and Friends, but comment down below what you think the worst era is. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can follow my Instagram by clicking in the link in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.